Welcome to The Eyes of Indigo with your infinitely curious hosts, Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Our show is broadcast live at 9:30 p.m. Wednesdays. Socio-spiritual topics are laced with humor as we discuss weird stuff in a rational way. Learn more about us in our first episode, The Prequel. Shows are recorded and available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, and other aggregators. A keyword searchable index is at iriscarter.com/EOI directory. Share ideas and comments in the program chat or by email. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share our show. Let us know you're here by typing your hello in the comments because we are thrilled to welcome you as we begin another adventure right now.
And here we are, adventuresome as ever.
As ever. When the intro plays, I no longer hear the sound. I just get the image. And it's been like that for about 2 months, by the way. But
Weird.
It might be my stuff. That might be.
Yeah, because I've had it happen with me when my internet's acting up or whatever. So I don't know.
It may be just a buffering thing.
Hey, happy 2024 to you too. Thank you. And since Dale is there, we can mention they'll be joining us next week. So for our show next week, and we'll go over all of what's coming up at the end of this show, what's coming up in the next few weeks, but or this month. But yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. So if you were waiting till after Christmas to investigate our Heal the Healer Summit coming up in March, we're going to do a little preview of that next week, and Dale will be talking about his participation in that and all that good stuff. Our Star Spiritual Centers goings on and all kinds of good stuff. So looking forward to that.
For sure. Yeah. Well, then.
Yeah.
So for tonight? Yes?
For tonight, yes. For tonight. What are we doing tonight? Y'all, I just got off of work and dashed in the door and got on the computer. So I'm like,
go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage of the, there you go, the meme for tonight's show.
Yes. So tonight is, did I do that right? No. What did I do?
We have a lovely black screen at the moment.
I know. Why did it do that?
It was up for a second. There it goes.
Okay. This is weird. Okay. My buttons aren't working right. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Curses and hexes and evil eyes. Yeah.
Yes. So what we're talking about is, can one person really give another the evil eye? Are people cursed? Are they having to live their lives immersed in bad luck? So we're going to look at all the possibilities and probabilities, and along with a reminder that words do matter. And in the Facebook, I think in both descriptions, but I know in both descriptions online, both on Facebook and in YouTube, I left a link to a previous podcast that we had early on in our podcast days of a show that we did on spelling. We talked about spells, and so this is kind of revisiting the topic, but going a little bit deeper, and also talking about specifically curses and hexes and all that good stuff. So what is the evil eye, Margot?
We have 2 of them. Some of us have a third. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. All right.
Term for the practice of casting negative juju and what we colloquially call bad luck or just negative intentions on a person, on a target, on a family, on a group, on an idea, and the spell.
You're kind of
Through
breaking up there.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
don't know if it's breaking up.
that's the internet. I know. I don't know if it's breaking up everywhere. Can you hear me any better now? No.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. All right. So it's considered a practice that comes that sending negative energy via vision, via the eyes, via a particular hairy eyeball kind of look. One might say it looks a lot like when mom and dad give you
The
the
look,
look
yeah.
when we are misbehaving children. Yeah, that's a version of the evil eye, also known as the hairy eyeball. Yeah, we all know what the look is, and it's different from person to person, but you know it when your caretakers as a child, your grandparents, whomever, says not a word, but gives you a very serious, hard look. And that's an evil eye. That's a milder form of it. So we're also talking about hexes and curses and bad luck. Iris, what's a hex?
A hex is like a spell. It's, again, sending out ill wishes. And sometimes people will, there are some beliefs where people put together like hex bags, that have a little piece of cloth with a chicken bone and, eye of newt and, what
Hair of
salamander.
frog,
Yeah,
salamander. Yeah.
whatever, and a little bit of something that belongs to somebody that's, the person's hair or something that connects to that person. You put it all together and you hide it and say some evil words over it, and that person's hexed, and it's like, I'm sorry. It's kind of I mean, there's all kinds of extremes to doing that, and people will carry that out in different ways.
My signal keeps breaking up. I'm going to try going out and coming back in
Okay.
because it's
Excuse me.
breaking up over and over and over.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to help, but we'll try. So waiting for her to come back, and she is back. If I can, there she goes. All right, we'll try it again. Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll stay that way. But then again, the topic of the show, I'm kind of not surprised. I'm being facetious to a point because we're going to talk about how that negativity is also easily controlled, protected from, stopped, waylaid, avoided, whatever word you like.
Yeah.
So, Iris, you were talking about earlier that, yeah, we had done an earlier episode about spells and spelling, and that this show is more specifically about the negative side of that, called, hexes and curses and stuff like that. Even the evil eye, which is conveyed through a look and a face, that's actually based on thoughts, words that are in your head. So it's still a type of spelling and language that we're referring to, being used for dark, shadowy intentions instead of only positive ones or close to it. So let's see. Typically, this is where I kind of want to invite our audience to participate a little bit. If you guys are familiar with any kind of hexing and curses in general that you're aware of or that you have heard of, sure, feel free to share them in the chat. In sports, it's popular to say something has a curse, such as the Pete Rose curse. The Babe Ruth curse is big in baseball. Baseball is big on superstition.
Well, think about the curse of what do they call it? The 27-year-olds. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix,
Rock and roll music.
Yeah, all of and the Doors. What was his name? God, can't think of his name.
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison. Yeah, they all died when they were 27, and they call it the curse.
What else do they call the curse day to day, Iris, fellow female?
Oh yeah, and the curse of the monthly visitor.
The red curse.
Yeah,
Yeah, your menstruation is typically called the curse simply because the hormonal swing that comes with it tends to make women, let's call it grouchy.
well, and also because some people saw it as Eve's punishment.
Yeah, a lot of, again, superstitions attached to that. And that word's coming back around that we didn't actually use when we were discussing this ahead of time. The word superstition comes in here a lot.
Yeah.
Hey there,
Hello, Sherry.
Sherry. Absolutely, it's an
Ready
interest.
for our
Thank you.
discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Hexes and spells and curse and evil eyes, those are also terminology that's often used in superstitions
Yeah.
as well as religion. Catholics go so far as to have a whole division of exorcists and exorcisms designed to make their congregants dependent on them to clear up a negative situation. Depends on the priesthood for clearing up negative situations that they actually could mitigate themselves if they were allowed to have that knowledge. Excuse me. But that superstition stuff, you know what? It might help to define the word superstition. Iris, can you spitball that one? What is a superstition? Definition of that. What is it to
It's
you?
well, to me, superstition is above normal of a stition.
Abnormal stitions.
Yeah, did everybody have stitions? I don't know. but seriously, it's things that, you know, and in fact, I can remember doing a paper on superstitions and getting a book about superstition when I was a little, third grade or fourth grade, and realizing that, people thought that black cats were unlucky, especially if you saw them at night. Well, hell yeah, because you trip over them because you don't see them. It's not that the cat, it's in and of itself is unlucky, or walking on a ladder under a ladder is bad luck. Well, yeah,
No,
because
that's
somebody's
just
on the
stupid
darn ladder. Yeah, ladder. That's just stupid to do.
to walk
And
under.
when
Yeah.
yeah, and when you spilled salt, you were supposed to pinch it and throw it over your shoulder to ward off evil beings, and that was because at one time salt was a monetary exchange, and if you spilled it, it was hard to get it back, and you also didn't want to have evil coming in and trying to grab it, so it was like, oh,
It was
keep it.
it was throwing money around, and they didn't want you to waste hard
Yeah,
something that's hard to recover. Scattered
right.
salt. Yeah.
Yeah, and so most superstitions are grounded in actually some sort of practicality or some sort of connection, but in and of themselves, it's like putting the blame on inanimate objects or objects that can't, or beings that can't help the way they look.
It's a transfer of power.
Yeah,
It's assigning power, or it's a removal of power from something that does not have a choice about where you put the power. You're either giving yourself power, or you're giving away your power to an object, to a concept, or whatever. And superstition is a sociably acceptable word for that. Yeah, it's a belief system about cause and effect. It's a belief system about assumed cause and effect.
yeah,
In a nutshell.
and we know
So
what assumptions do, or what the word assume means. Ask of you and me.
exactly, yeah, assumptions are, yeah, most of the time very fatal stuff. So, um, in your opinion, we were talking about this a little bit before the show, of course. And Iris, in your observations, here's a little bit of a tougher question that requires a little bit of discussion. In your understanding of the universe, Do hexes and spells and curses even really exist?
It is possible to manipulate and to send out bad juju. There are energies that can be manipulated. And there are things that can be done by people to other people. Yes. Do they exist? Yes. But there are several caveats to that. One is how much the power that somebody has to exert to manipulate other entities and other, and put together the right herbs and spices and whatever, and they're not making
frog hairs and bat
yeah,
fins. Yeah.
to concoct and put together and exert that energy. It is true that what you send out comes back to you 3, if not tenfold. I mean, I've heard 3-fold, tenfold, whatever. If you send out bad energy, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass hard. Okay. Then,
which is why buying
you're breaking up.
what was the last thing I said that you heard?
Which is why buying something.
Paying for buying curses from a practitioner, such in the voodoo tradition or in the pagan tradition or so on, is so expensive. All right. Buying curses and so on is extremely expensive. Firstborn child, thousands and thousands of dollars. Your next life incarnation is in exchange for curses and spells in those traditions.
Pay for that shit?
Yes, because the person that you're hiring to do the curse is going to take on the karma that you just described.
Do you see what but
that's their belief system.
What you're doing, as if I don't even want to claim that crap myself. God, that just gives me goosebumps. Okay, if person A goes to this, Happy New Year to Ashley. Thank you. So, all right. We'll say person A goes to person B and says, I'm going to give you money. You're a good spellcaster. I want you to do this bad thing.
Put a curse on my ex-husband.
Yeah. Right. Because person A initiated that act, they are, hello, Angela. She said she just couldn't pass on tonight's topic. Thank you. Person A is going to have a shitload of karma of their own to deal with because they initiated that and made that exchange. They're putting, by paying, they're putting their energy into that. They're not buying their way out of having to deal with karma. They're just saying, well, I'm gonna pay you to do it because I can't do it very well and you're better at it. And that other person who actually does it is going to put up with whatever shit comes their way because they got money for it. That is the stupidest fucking thing. So not only has that person going to get, the first person who initiated it, they're going to get hit up for even thinking of doing that crap. And
in the karma tradition.
Yes, in the karmic tradition.
Right. You have to subscribe to karma in the first place, but in the karmic tradition, yes, they both get hit.
And the thing is, while I'm not a subscriber to karma per se, because I try not to have karma invoked on me, I know that it exists.
It exists in 3D. Yeah. But like you're saying, you have to participate to make it happen.
Right.
That also applies to the karmic wheel. which makes sense with what you're describing in general. If you participate at any level, let's call it Ho'oponopono too, okay? Not just the karmic tradition. At whatever level you participate, you're going to get that piece of action right back on you in the 3D world. And a little bit in the 4D world as well, by the way.
And because you did it, you're going to have some lessons to deal with once you pass on, because you have to revisit this stuff and figure out how it affected you and the other people that you did it to and all that stuff. And
What purpose did it serve? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lessons.
But I just, and I know of people personally that do this stuff, and I just try to avoid being around them, because
you're not participating. Right.
Right. It just seems there's a lot better ways to put your energy. If you are hell bent on messing up somebody because they're your ex, or you don't like them, or you don't like what they did to you, you've got a lot more problems than the ones they're bringing you.
Yeah. They're psychological, socio-emotional problems.
Your
focus is on something else besides yourself.
You're trying to break a mirror.
Oh, ooh, what a good analogy. Oh yeah, that's very clear. You're trying to break a mirror. So so please explain, what does that mean? But what is the mirror? What are you referring to? That's very clever. Explain.
Okay, so say I go to somebody and I say, I want you to put a hex on my ex-husband because he's pissing me off. Well, your ex-husband's pissing you off because he's being a mirror. He's trying to show you something in the larger sense. He might
that
not
you don't like about yourself.
He's not going, oh, I need to show Iris this in herself so that she can get. No, but it's like anybody else that ticks you off. What is it that they're showing you about themselves? They become a mirror for you to work out your issues. Now, I don't want to deal with those issues. Not only am I going to bring more issues on myself for what I'm suggesting that I do, I'm trying to break the mirror and bring more bullshit on myself.
In a superstition practice, right. To justify your indignation and lack of responsibility in the situation.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, holy crap, people, own up to your own crap. Own up to it and fix it.
Fixing it is where it starts.
For it, it's just
so devil's advocate here, just for the sake of conversation as well, and the sake of education here. There are people out there, especially naive people, but there are some wise people too that have fallen under this. But there are several billions of naive people on this planet, and a lot of them are inexperienced, naive youth that can tell you, and their family and loved ones can tell you, let's say it's a boy, or it's a guy, it's a boy. He's a good boy. He does well all the time. For some reason, for the past few months, he's hit a string of bad luck, and it's just one thing after another. And it feels like a curse. Now his mother is sick. His father lost his job. This family is sweet. They've always helped the community. Their car died. They got their houses condemned. Their neighbors died, got shot, and blah, 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 blah. In other words, they're hitting on generically what's called a string of bad luck, or somebody's put a curse on them, or whatever words you want to use. So there are situations where somebody appears to be innocently receiving these negative consequences. What's your take on what you think is actually happening to these people that aren't actively asking for it, or overtly? They're not overtly out loud asking for the negative juju that's happening to them. What would you speculate?
There's two different directions. But it still comes down to themselves. I'll explain. Okay. So it's when negative stuff keeps happening, how are they addressing it? Oh, negative stuff. I cancel clear this for myself. Negative stuff keeps happening to me. All these bad things keep happening. And I don't mean that for me, okay? But if somebody says that, what language are they feeding the universe? Oh, you want more? Okay. Because it's happened to me. And I actually had a celestial voice say, well, quit asking for it. Oh, okay. You know,
Oops.
I didn't see that. Yeah, okay.
All right. So acknowledging the negativity actually empowers the negativity.
Yes.
Or at least using, poor, pitiful me language.
Exactly.
I mean, that kind of acknowledgement. You can acknowledge it and say, fuck it. There's people that are jealous against me and whatever, but I don't acknowledge any influence over me.
So
I am what I am.
When you start seeing a chain of things, if you recognize this doesn't seem normal, then you go, well, isn't that something that this stuff happened? But you know what? We're turning that around. I'm bringing in positive energy. I'm going to not have this negative crap keep happening in my life or to my family or whatever. You can do a protective energy to yourself, and it's the bubble that we've talked about before. Like, create a bubble around yourself, around your house, around your family. You can extend it around the whole fucking world if you want to. Okay, pardon my French, but I mean, it's but that's a lot of energy to expand, and you can't take care of the whole world. You need to take care of yourself. And if everybody takes care of themselves, then I mean, you can.
That's a whole nother discussion. Yeah, but on a day-to-day basis, we don't think about it.
Well, and when I say you can't take care of, yes, you can, but you can't take away other people's free will to experience whatever they want to experience.
Some people choose that negative experience on purpose, which I think is the other way that you were talking about, that there were two ways to look at this.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, it could be hex. Somebody could have paid the mystery woman to hex the whole family and send them bad juju. You don't have to accept it.
It won't succeed if the family doesn't play along.
Right.
Neighborhood.
You have to invite that, and you have to acknowledge, oh, this is really bad, and this keeps happening, and oh, we've been hexed. Well, guess what? Now you have been, because you just said you were.
Two things. One, I'd like for you to run up and read Angela's comment. That's another expression of what you just said, and it's awesome.
In my opinion, wait a minute. Okay, I'm trying to read it, and it's like, in my personal opinion, I got to let it go back to the beginning. Most people are not worth the energy it requires to curse, hex, etc. them. Trust and believe that it does take a huge amount of energy to do this type of work. Rather than curse or hex an enemy, just bless everyone around them. Yes. And even bless your enemies. There have been times.
Vibration. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have said, I don't know what's going on with that person, but send them love. Send them creators love. That's,
It's not about you.
Yeah, and just let it go.
The other thing that you said that I wanted to bring a little bit of spotlight to with an example, you're talking about a family or a person that goes, oh, I've been hexed. Oh, I've had a spell, or there's been a curse on the family, or a baseball curse, or whatever on such and such. Have you ever noticed along that line of people announcing that they have this negativity or hex or spell or whatever on them. Have you ever noticed that they don't start doing that until someone else comes and says, I put a curse on you, I put a spell on you, come up in public crazy, like you said, mystery woman with long nails and animal entrails hanging out of her hand with the bag, and haggard, that's the typical witchy thing, or the the swamp people or whatever, the mountain person, and says, I've put a hex on your family, or your family is damned, or whatever. And they make a production out of it to be intimidating, to be mysterious and unknown, which is unknowns for humans make us very, very insecure. It tends to scare us to the point that we get angry. Anger is an extreme form of fear. So, or it's one expression of fear. So those spells and hexes and curses don't actually activate until someone makes a dramatic presentation of it to get it started, which means I'm telling my target person to buy into what I'm trying to sell them,
And
which
why do you want to give
automatically
them that
means
power?
they're giving you're literally taking away your target's power. That's the magic person is literally pulling your power with your permission. Okay, you being the target is pulling the target's power with the target's permission by intimidating him. Which, by the way, if we want to sidebar even further, modern society, they do the exact same thing to us day in, day out. They aggravate us, torture us, slow us down, bad pharmacy, bad food, bad entertainment, bad politics, by our permission. We give them permission to do that, and we have been for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because we're ignorant up until recently. We're ignorant of that as a society, as a species. We weren't aware of the manipulation, which is a more clear way to say it. In both situations, the word manipulation fits perfectly. Someone who thinks they have power tries to take the power of someone they perceive as lesser, and it's only a perception, they perceive as lesser because that lesser thing actually has power they want. They're actually trying to take something. How much lesser is that? Okay, that's another sidebar. Come back to the point. Manipulation happens often in our society. They use television, radio, and media, and Hollywood, and music, and food, and GMOs, and bad pharmacy to manipulate us even further. But bringing it further back again, reversing my ADD all the way back to spells, hex, and curses. Well, that's literally what it is. You're putting out to the universe, I want this, my target's person or thing's energy, and I'm going to tell it I'm taking it. And I'm going to do it in an intimidating way so that it freely and easily hands over that power to me. Right?
It's like
Which is
somebody going
why
up with a gun to steal somebody's purse.
Exactly. Which is why some
Which shows
types
you
of belief
because they have a
systems,
gun, they're not powerful to begin with.
a person with a gun is automatically showing you that they themselves feel extremely insecure, which actually makes them more dangerous.
Yeah.
But the most dangerous person is the one that comes at you hand-to-hand combat. That's self-defense stuff. Come back here. And it is related. But that's physical stuff. We're talking about psychological and energetic at the moment. Oh, Sherry has a good one.
One of my teachers says to use the 3 magic words, God bless you. They'll get their lesson quicker.
I just, because the word God triggers some people, I just say bless you. And let them interpret
your
that
heart. That's the Southerners have been using that for years to insult somebody without them really knowing.
It's kind of a curse and kind of a blessing if you know the context in the Southern culture. Yeah, absolutely.
Bless her heart. You can say, what is it? You can say anything bad you want about a person as long as you start it with bless her heart. Bless your heart.
Yeah,
we'll finish it.
She's so stupid. Bless her heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless your heart, child. You just don't have a clue, do you? But yeah, this is all a power play. Hexes, curses, bad luck, bad juju are all power plays.
And
Instituted
it's
from,
all about how much power you're willing to give up.
even if you are someone who is naive to the situation at first, like I said, once you start claiming it, I've been cursed. My family has a hex, blah, blah, blah. When you start claiming it, that's when the rubber hits the road and it gets worse.
And and even if you weren't actually cursed, but you just believe it, you have suddenly created that belief in yourself that perpetrates the actual activity. So, there are stories all the time about how, you can tell somebody, you tell a little kid, don't fall. Well, the thing they hear is fall, and bam, they go, I knew you were going to fall. And the kid's crying, I didn't mean to, I was trying not to.
Because you told him to.
But you told him. When you said don't fall, they only hear fall. Whereas if you say, slow down, be careful, that's what they hear. Yeah. Then they're
think about where you're going to go before you start running. Yeah, before you jump across the creek. Think about where you're going to put your feet first.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. Give them concrete things. So, in talking about, so if we're going to talk about the fact that a lot of curses and spells and hexes, which are fascinating in and of themselves, but full of negative juju, and the process is reflected in multiple cultures. We've mentioned voodoo, we've mentioned Catholicism, which is a form of Christianity, and also even in Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian tradition, if I understand it right. Are you familiar with Ho'oponopono, Iris?
Mm-hmm. Somewhat. A little better. I mean, I know we've talked about it, and I've heard Dale talk about it. And
Ho'oponopono rolls under the understanding that the second you become aware of a person and or situation, you are now energetically participating in it, for better or for worse. So in other words, listening to someone else's sob story, somebody tells, for example, somebody says, my sister got beat up last night, blah, blah, blah. You're now energetically giving energy to that beating. So it's kind of, ugh. So even hearing about it contributes your energy to that situation, to that travesty. But the opposite is true too. Even hearing about good things and beauty and peace and healing contributes your energy to those endeavors as well. Obviously, we don't want to give our energy to negative or suffering. We don't want to give our energy to suffering, our own or other people's. Ho'oponopono is a whole practice, but a part of it is a way to use words. And it sounds like a spell. It sounds like a casting. It's 4 phrases that have been proven to reverse that effect, to reverse that, to retract your participation in whatever you just heard or said. And you kind of do it yourself in another way with your theta practices when you go erase, cancel, delete. Okay? That's your negating, stopping your energetic participation in the negativity that was just said or thought about. In Ho'oponopono, you're saying it in 3 words. Ho'oponopono says it in 4 sentences. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. You can say those 4 statements in any order. Use your own phraseology as long as you mean them. And they have written proof that that has actually cleared out whole prison systems by shamans saying Ho'oponopono over the prisoners' personal files. They never even met the people. They never even read the files. They just had the prisoners' files. It was in Hawaii. Whole prison system was shut down because nobody was coming in, and everybody that was in it rehabbed and got moved out to lesser security or even released. Yeah, it's this Joe Dispenza.
So the prisoners didn't have to say it for themselves.
No. Somebody can say it on their behalf because that is the power of human words. Yeah, all of us are shamans. Ask Dale. Yeah. All of us are profoundly sacred beings that can tap into any reality at any second. So
Sherry was talking about us, like don't fall, and she said she favors be safe. She says it feels like whether they're careful or not, be safe kind of covers it.
Yeah, when somebody tells me they're going on a trip, I automatically say travel safe and well. Travel safe and well. I don't want to say be careful.
Yeah.
Because that implies that they're in danger.
It's true.
No, travel well. Travel safe and well. However you want to say that. But yeah, I'm with you, Sherry. Absolutely. Those are nice variations of that. So Ho'oponopono is another tradition that works on the fact that words cause, not cause, I take that back, empower negativity, and words can retract empower that empowerment from negativity and even redirect it into something positive. So I was going somewhere else with this as well. What was it? That has shot out of my head. So shifting gears instead, Iris, what are throw out a little bit of advice here. Somebody comes to you and says they have concerns about this and they want to rewrite, reframe, negate the negativity that they feel like they are recipients of. What would you recommend?
First thing I would say, clear yourself, ground yourself.
Yeah.
Clear your space. Make sure, whether and you can do that in different ways. You can meditate and just, like make sure you're grounded, make sure that that your immediate self is free of negative energy, that there's no attachments, no, all of that. And clear your living space, that sort of thing. But also look at, it doesn't matter who did what or who said what, but that you recognize that you have the divine right to free will, and that no one has the right to impose their will upon you. So even if it may be asking for downloads or asking, God, creator, whatever, just saying, help, please remind me or teach me or show me or download information into me, to let me know that I have free will and that I am not obligated. No, I am free of other people's impositions, that I have command over the positive energy around me, that I am in control. Those kinds of things that because you can't ask the universe for negative stuff. You can't say, that's why I said not the
right.
Don't. I took don't out of it. But what do you want? I know how to protect myself. Sometimes I'll ask for reminders of stuff that I know that is inherently in me. And then sometimes I'm like, give me a clear understanding, or give me or download me with the knowledge that I know how to reject negativity, or that I know how to be safe and secure in my own home, free of anything anybody else would wish upon me. Those kinds of things. I mean, you can make it like that, and it's all in asking for it in a sincere and clear manner. Um, because we do have the divine right to live our lives,
Yeah.
and to live safely and abundantly, and
In free will.
and to have free will. Yeah. We can't, we don't, nobody can take that away from us, unless we give them permission.
Which is so key.
Yeah.
Not to
And
give them
that's something else
permission.
you
Whether
can do is,
you're aware of it or not, you can give permission.
yeah. And so ask yourself, have I given somebody permission to do this to me? What did I ask for something without realizing it?
What is that? What is giving permission? Because some people think that means some of the examples that we've already said, such as, oh, my family has been cursed, or my family's been blessed, whatever you want to say. Oh, I've got a hex, or so and so. Oh, that must be blah, 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 the Babe Ruth curse, whatever. That's one way to acknowledge and give permission for a curse or for negativity. All right. That's one way. What are some other ways that people give permission and don't always?
Regrets and guilt. If you feel guilty about something, then you're open to being punished for it. And, and it might be as simple as, oh, I probably wasn't the best husband to my ex-wife. And, I wish there was something I could do to make it better for her. And then she's over there plotting with Witchy Queen to send you curses. Then you've just opened that door.
Yeah.
And as soon as you start feeling guilty and you have regrets for something, stop and forgive yourself.
Forgiveness is key.
Forgiveness is key, and forgiving yourself. Sure, have I done things in the past that, or said things that I wish I hadn't, or that I, oh, I can't believe I did that. What was I thinking? And what I have started doing is recognizing that at any given, I am not a mean, vindictive person. I don't deliberately do bad things. I don't deliberately make mistakes. I don't deliberately set people up for failure. I'm not that kind of person. So if I did something that inadvertently caused harm to anyone, or caused, if I got mad at my kid and smacked her one time and I shouldn't have, or whatever, or if I got mad at my child when she was a little girl for doing something mean to her brother, and maybe I was too harsh, I yelled at her too much or something like that, and I go, oh, I was a horrible mother. Well, I'm just setting myself up for guilt and rejection and resentment and regret and all that stuff. And instead, what I do is I recognize that I was doing the best I could in that moment, at that time, with whatever tools I was given to use at the moment. And since then, I've learned, and maybe I wouldn't do things that way now, but I did it then because I didn't know any different.
You worked with
And
what you
so
had.
forgive myself and ask for new teachings so that I can continue to grow in a way that's in
I
my
like that.
highest and best. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so things that I have mourned over in the past, maybe I wasn't kind enough to my parents, or maybe I didn't do this. And I'm just making up stuff off the top of my head now, but whatever people feel regret about, if you look, I didn't intend for whatever to happen that happened. that was not my purpose or intent or desire. So cut yourself some slack and forgive yourself.
Absolutely. It's key to it all. I got one more tough question for you, and I do believe that you'll have a consistent answer for it. In our experiences so far, I'm in my 50s, you're in your 60s. In our lifetime experiences, we've discovered that malevolent beings do exist in the 3D and a little bit in the 4D. Let's generically call them demons. Okay? I'm not talking about humans. I'm not talking about evil people. I'm talking about supernatural beings that only have negative intentions because they're feeding off of what is popularly called loosh, Loosh. Look it up if you want to know more about that word. What would you recommend what do you recommend? I take that back because you've done it. What do you recommend when you become aware that a person or a situation or a group is actually being beset by what we are for this conversation? They are beset by demons, succubuses, things that are feeding on the suffering of this group. What do you recommend once this group starts soliciting for help, either verbally or socially? Yeah.
There's a couple of things. First of all, recognize they have no more power than what you give them. That's the big thing. Just like anything else, you have to give up your power for them to be able to do things to you. Once you realize that there's negative shit around, again, clear your space. I have been around other people. I have been around in situations where there was negative energy hanging out. And I ain't having that. Go, just get out, go away. Whatever. I think I watched too many Exorcist movies or something a few weeks ago, and it was like all of a sudden I got all these creepy feelings. I'm like, no, you cannot hang around. Yes, I like those films, but you cannot hang around. Go out. No, and they go, okay, because I'm not playing.
They don't have free will like we do.
No.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. They don't have free will. You do. You get to tell them what to do in all cases. Yeah.
Yes.
The most they can do is intimidate you, which is still your permission.
They're trying to scare you to get a reaction because they want that loosh
energy.
They want
that
they feed off of the fear. That's
feed
what
off
they
the
do.
fear. Mm-hmm.
So the other thing is when, like, if I'm working with somebody who has that attachment, one of the first things we start looking at is, so how is that benefiting you? What are they doing for you? Because there's an exchange.
There's an exchange going on. If they're still around, you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, and there was one that I told the guy, I said, until you can because it made him feel more powerful.
Confident
It was
powerful.
more confident, more powerful, and it was because he couldn't recognize that he already had that within himself and the ability to do that himself without having something talking in his ear and giving him that confidence. It was like having a good friend next to you all the time, punching you along, going, "Yeah, you can do this." Yeah, and it's like, no, you don't. You don't need that. And some people will recognize that and go, "Yeah, you're right." But the fact was, he was encouraging it to stay because he was afraid to give it up. He was afraid to be alone.
So he found an equitable exchange that he could tolerate to a large extent, but not always. But to the point that he hired your advice.
Yeah.
But for them, there was a part of him that enjoyed the exchange. Yeah.
Yes.
So
And so,
when that's
yeah, to
part.
recognize in yourself what, if something's hanging around, what's it getting off? Why? Why do you want it there?
I can tell you in a lot of situations where I've seen thank you for giving us an example of what you've dealt with. In a lot of situations that I've seen, they the the malevolent, the negative energies get lucky and find someone who is very, very invested in their victimhood status,
Yeah.
and it
I'll be a
justifies.
victim all your life.
I'll be a victim all your life. Yes. There are many people that find a lot of personal power, although it's temporary, short lived, and not exactly power, but they perceive it as empowerment to remind their people, their world, their constituents, other beings that they are a victim. And to do that, they have to justify it. They justify it with being, bless you,
Yeah.
um, yeah, by saying, "Oh, poor pitiful me." That's what I mean by justifying your victimhood. "Oh, poor pitiful me. I have a curse on me. I suffer. I have pain. I have loss."
People,
The
somebody who,
attention from it.
oh, of course, oh, you do. How did you get that? Tell us the story. Ooh la la, and because they surround themselves with people that will eat that shit up.
And give them power to keep doing it.
Yes.
When somebody goes, "Oh, you poor pitiful thing," they're giving you pity. That's giving away their power to what it is that they pity, which is the victim who is looking for that. Okay, it gives them a pseudo sense of being in power, because in their reasoning, a victim's mentality, in their reasoning, the world owes me because I suffer. So they have carte blanche. All right, they don't. Yeah, it's less effort. It's I deserve this compensation because I'm sick, because I'm suffering, because I have loss. People should give me this energy, food, free friendship, attention.
Yeah. And you're breaking up or frozen. I know I have seen times in myself in the past where I had a job I didn't like, or I wasn't happy, or whatever was going on. I'm sorry, you froze up. There you go. But whatever. And like maybe I would say, I can't go to work today. I need a mental health day. I'll just call and tell them I'm sick. So I'd call and I'd say, I'm coming down with a cold. I think I'm running a fever. I'm not going to come in. Okay. The next day I'd wake up and I'd be sick.
Dang, that's quick. That's manifesting quick. Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
myself sick because I said I was sick. I quit doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I also found jobs I like better and that kind of stuff. But it's like, but there are people who get diseases who are sick because they don't want to heal, because if they get better, people will stop paying attention to them.
Or they
They're
fear that. They fear that they'll have less energy coming into their lives socially, emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've
They
trained
don't
themselves.
realize that they are worthy of their
Yes,
own self edification and don't need to rely on others to have it. They don't feel that confident about their own self worth. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So this actually ties back to what you said in the very beginning. If you're worried about putting a hex or a curse on someone else, you've got bigger problems. And that is exactly what we're talking about. You've got you or those people have, you as a generic word, have bigger problems with your lack of self-esteem and lack of knowledge about how valuable you really are, without having to do the negative drama to sustain it. Yeah, that's the bigger problem that you have. that we
Yes.
referred to earlier about 1 hour ago.
Yeah. And I was going to show this real quick. When you
Yeah.
can't decide which evil eye to give them. Oh.
Up there in D.C., right? You can see the White
Yeah.
House behind her.
Yes.
Crazy ass woman.
And then you called Hex support?
Looks like her little brew ain't working.
Yeah, witches there. And this last one, the two witches talking and drinking tea. He gave you the evil eye on the first date. Ooh, he must really like
you. Those were cute. Those were fun.
Yeah. Kudos to Margot for finding those. So let's talk about what's coming up in the next few weeks with this month. Here we've got Dale Stacy talking, giving us a summit sneak peek. We're going to talk about the Heal the Healer Summit. If you want more information on the summit and you'd like to spend a long weekend with us and Dale and some other
at
great
the beach.
people. Yes, at the beach. It's March 21st through the 24th. You can sign up now. Go to my website, iriscarter.com, and at the top of the page is the menu, and it says Heal the Healer Summit. Click on it, and you'll get more information, the schedule, and the sign-up sheet, and all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about that more next week. And then psychic readings are coming back on the 17th. We're going to discuss exopolitics on the 24th. We're going to kind of give you the introductory.
Find out.
Yeah.
What is exopolitics and how does it affect you?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty crucial stuff. It's a good word to know.
Yes. And January 31st, we're going to look at liminal space, and that's not to be confused with the stuff you put on your kitchen floor.
Laminates. Yeah, laminating space. No, liminal space is a highly powerful thing that exists everywhere in your day-to-day life. It kind of helps to be aware of it, to utilize it, as powerful as it is. Yeah, it's supernatural. It's supernatural, and it's everywhere. More on that in a couple of weeks. Few weeks. Yeah.
Hope you'll join us. Appreciate everybody that was here tonight. And we'll do this again next week.
For sure.
Yeah. All
Namaste,
right.
guys. Good night.
Thank you for joining the Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod. Find us at facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo, on YouTube under @Iris Carter Enterprises, and on various podcast aggregators. Copyright 2023 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears.